DJ Wolf Live here on a Wednesday morning. I think the day is 19, 2026. I got a couple things on my mind. And, I did a podcast about this thing about a little over a year ago, talking about a little kindness goes a long way. And it was based on something I did for somebody. I went to a rental car place, Enterprise, out in Virginia. And this young man was very kind, man. But that's their service anyway. But it's like they went beyond it, and I was so touched by it. I gave him a nice little tip, and he almost cried. And I ain't gonna lie, I almost cried with him, but I didn't. But he was really touched by it. Young guy, he could have been about maybe late teens, early 20s. But I was really touched by his service, man, and it's like, and it got me to thinking this morning because I talked about this before in other podcasts, and I talked about love, about turning hate into love. I think one of the things we don't learn from what's going on in the world today is about turning love into hate. I mean, hate into love. It's something we can do, we should learn to do, but unfortunately we don't do that. We actually don't. We really don't, folks. And it's a daggone crying shame that we don't. And I was thinking, I said, you know what? If we do a little act of kindness, even a random, I'll give you another example of a random act of kindness I did with a lady some years ago. I went to this restaurant. It was Panera. Matter of fact, it was Panera Bread. And it was in the morning, probably about 8 in the morning. And I had went there and sat down, got my food, and said good morning to me, and I said, good morning, how are you doing? And, she said, fine. I said, thanks for asking. And she was real appreciative that somebody asked her, how's she doing? And I realized that sometimes when it comes to our people and our culture, we don't do enough for that. We really don't. You got people, look at you and say good morning, but they don't, it's like, how you doing? And I say that to people all the time. It was in my nature that was taught from my parents. Because one thing I say about my parents might be a lot of things, good, bad, and indifferent. But the one thing they taught me was manners. They definitely taught me manners growing up. And they taught me not only manners and be respectful of others, but they also taught me to, when I say good morning, how are you? People appreciate that. People really do appreciate when you ask them how they doing. Because it shows not only that you're courteous, but that you just generally care. And I took a lot of that away from that lady who said, thank you for asking. I didn't know her from a can of paint, but it's just the fact that I asked. As I said, with tears in my eyes, because I don't think we do enough of that. We don't. We really seriously don't, folks. And I think that's something we got to wake up to as a people, man. We need to get back to that. We need to back to getting into morals and common courtesy of people, man. We don't do enough of it. I was thinking about that all the past 2 weeks, man. Because some of our families don't keep in contact like they should. But they'll complain about you not calling them, and they don't answer the phone. I'm gonna say this. I had one family member about 2 weeks ago, Now, this is somebody I call every week. You know what they told me? Because I hadn't talked to them, I ain't called them in 2 weeks. Although they don't call me like that, but they call everybody else. Oh, I was anticipating your call. Oh, you was anticipating my call, but you never called me. Boy, because you always expect me to call you, but you never call back and see how I'm doing. But I'm always checking on you. And not that I should, but I'm just saying. And it made me feel some kind of like you were going to just sit there and wait for me to call you after 3-4 weeks, and I call you every week. But don't you think you might want to check on me since I hadn't talked to you in about 2 or 3 weeks? And I call you every week? I just felt that was kind of self-centered and a little bit selfish to me. But that's another story. But I ain't going to go too much deep into it. But like I said, a random act of kindness, man, a card to let somebody know you care, man. I had a co-worker who, had some family issues going on, major family. Now, and I just told him, I said, let me know if you need anything, man, if everything okay, and just because I care. That's just that's in my nature, man. But, we got to get back to that. Our culture needs to get back to caring about each other, and we don't do a good job of that at all. We got women talking about, well, y'all don't recognize us as being your equal and all that. You're not our equal. Let's be honest. Women are not equal to men. I'm not saying that y'all don't have the stamina to do the things you do, but to be honest, you are not our equal. You have the rights that you deserve, and I totally agree with that. I'm not knocking that at all. But you can't say you're equal to us in every way. You're not, because you're not men. That's a fact. Bible talks about it all the time. You're going to challenge that. But that's another story. I ain't going to talk about too much about that right now. I'm just saying, we have to get back to caring about each other as people, man. I'm talking about in general, as people. Because sometimes I don't think we do. Not the way we should. We truly don't. And it makes me sick. And it saddens me a lot of times. I think that's why the world is going the way it is today. Because we got out of the people caring business. We really have. People don't seem to give a damn about each other no more like we used to. And it makes me sad every day I think about it. Every single day I think about it. This is the gospel, folks. The more I think about it, the sadder I get about it. I really do. We got, start checking up on our neighbors a little bit more, checking on our family a little bit more. Stop being selfish by talking about, I'm waiting for you to call me. You ain't got to wait on nobody to call you. If you can pick up the phone and down, I don't give a damn how old you are. And you still, you still doing your thing out here, moving and calling people and talking to people. You can make phone calls or get them made by somebody for you. So I don't want to hear that. As long as you can speak. Ain't no excuse about that. It's really not. That's another whole story, like I said. But people just make excuses. And that's our biggest problem. We make excuses for everything. We really do. Our culture, is ingrained in that. Yeah, I'm going to say that because it's the truth. Y'all don't want to say it. But this is for all to hear, baby. It sometimes it infuriates me because people, there's things that you commit to and then you don't do it. Oh, I'm on this, that, and the other. I've had several times from people who said that to me. And one dude, I had tickets. I had got some free tickets for that out here with the Washington Nationals, right? This when they was still playing arcade before the stadium got built up the road over in the Navy Yard. And I got tickets. I had 3 tickets. I don't remember how I got them, but somebody gave them to me. Something 3 tickets. Somebody didn't want to go. So one for me, one for my son, and one for my coworkers. So this Negro, now I'm being nice about it because he pissed me off. This Negro, right, said he wanted to go. I said, well, maybe down there, blah, blah, blah. He said, okay. Told where it was. Then he turns around, well, just give me a ticket, I'll meet you down there. So, of course, I try to be, you know, kind of a diplomat about it. I said, okay, bet. Gave this Negro the ticket, and he was a complete no-show. That's what I'm talking about, no commitment. Just the fact that he likely might have sold the ticket, I don't know. That's probably what he was going to do anyway. But that goes to show you, that's why I have a lack of trust for most of our people. I don't trust them. I have a very lack of trust for American people. Even with a random act of kindness, because sometimes they'll take your kindness for weakness. And that's the number one reason I don't deal with a lot of folks. A lot of times. I don't have a problem saying that. And I know some people are like, Wolf, you don't want to deal with your own people. No, because too many of them are trying to burn me over the years. And I'm talking about even a couple of close friends down here in the DMV that tried it. Oh yeah, they have definitely tried it. And it made me feel some kind of way about it. To a point, it's like, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with you. Because I thought we was cool. And then you try to burn me. And see, it's the try to burn me part that hurts me, because they do it all the time out here in the DMV. They do it all the time. And they don't have a care in the world about it. They don't have a single care at all. Not whatsoever. Like, not whatsoever. They really don't. They don't care. You know, the way they drive out here is atrocious. I was out here on the Beltway, for those who know the Beltway out here in the DMV, going into Virginia. All right, I have some stuff I take care of. But anyway, and this truck driver. Now I'm in the non-passing lane now. I'm in the slow lane. This is a true story. I was in the slow lane, right? Truck right up on me. I'm like within inches of hitting my damn car, right? He could have got over either left or right and wherever he felt like it. All right, but instead of this asshole slowing down, he wants to just ride my bumper as fast as he think he has the right to. What I call entitled driving, because that's what these people do out here a lot of times. They drive like they're entitled to drive as fast as they want, even though they see you in a non-passing lane, and they could have just easily gotten to the passing lane and did what they wanted to do, but they didn't do that. Instead, he wanted to ride my bumper, and he didn't want to slow down because he felt entitled that he could just do what he wanted to do at will. And that's the problem. People just don't have the opportunity to they don't take the opportunity to try to just have any common courtesy for other or care for other people. It's just very self-centered to me. It really is, and it just takes me off. Which is why I'm gonna be honest with you folks. It's the main reason I don't deal with a lot of people today. I really don't. Now, I have an audience of around 373. I'm going for 400. And if I get to 400, and this is my promise, if I get to 400, man, I may be giving away a gift. I may give away a gift. Matter of fact, I may give away a couple of gifts if I get to 1,000. Because my ultimate goal is to get to 1,000. So, you know me, your boy, DJ Wolf. And I'm going to tell you the truth. If I get to 1,000, I definitely going to give away something. But I ain't going to talk about that right now until I get to that point. But you'd have to be the first to do it. But maybe I'll talk about that in another podcast. I'm thinking about that, but we'll see. But you got to help me get them subs up. Help me get up the likes and the subs. And more comments, because I do welcome your comments, even though I may or may not like it. Just be respectful. You know. But, you know, it just, I don't know. We just need to get back to, you know, people talking about, well, what's going to alleviate the problem with the violence and all. Well, I can tell you a couple things will alleviate the violence. Number one, women and men stop making bad choices in relationships, particularly women, you know, because y'all seem to have a habit of choosing the same type of guys, and then you turn around and say, oh, ain't no good men. Because you keep choosing the same guy. You don't want the boring man. You want the exciting man that puts some excitement and juice into your life. And juice can go a lot of different ways, you know what I'm saying? And that's part of the problem. But you want a boring man when it satisfies your needs to take care of yourself and how many ever children you got from 2 or 3, 4, 5 different fathers. That's wrong. And I had somebody tell me personally, and it irked me to no end, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. And I told him straight up, there's a lot wrong with that. Are you serious? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a man dating a woman with 3, 4 kids. You know, there's a lot wrong with that. That wasn't his. That's for, yeah. For a number of reasons. I mean, you know, mainly because, you know, you got this little butthurt dudes to be like, oh, man, what you doing dating my baby mama for? And all that stuff. You know? That's, I hardly ever did. I'm going to be honest. I hardly ever dated baby mamas. A couple of ones I did date gave me nothing but the blues. I let them go. And it wasn't even, in most cases, it wasn't even about sex. They just was annoying, and they were dancing towards me. And they felt like I owed them everything, but the baby daddy owed them and more. And I cut them off. I don't play that. I really didn't play that at the time, you know. And some of these guys got to learn to make the right choice about the women they date too, and stop dating the same type of women. Because really this applies to both men and women. I'm gonna say that right up front. You got guys who keep dating the same kind of women, the same type of women with little attitudes and stuff, and you wonder why you can't get a good woman. You know, you date low when you should be aiming high. That go for women, definitely go for women. Y'all like to, you know, y'all, he boring. I don't like no boring guys. Yeah, but the boring guys you choose after you and mess around and got pregnant with all these other dirty Dick Rodney guys, though. The same type of guys that you initially choose when you was out there. Now all of a sudden you won't. See what this fool trying to do, man. You gonna slow down or what? Oh, okay, dude. Might slow down for a change. But anyway, it gets annoying though, man, for real. And people, you know, always trying you, man. And because I've had women who I try to date, and I call myself trying to date, thinking they want to be a good choice. They turn out to be a horrible choice. I just love them, just move on. But we have to be set. We have to be happy with ourselves first. You know, in order to get into the right relationships, we have to be right within ourselves. You know, you can't sit there and do all this dirt out here, do all this mess, and expect to get with the right person and expect that right person to help you clean it all up when you should have had it cleaned up before you got with it. You know, you got to be right within yourself and your mind and your heart. You know, you can't be out there being messy and abrasive and expecting to get a good dude or good woman. You can't. You just can't. That's all there's to it. Because otherwise, you ain't going to get nothing. You're going to get the same mess you always had. And until you make the change for yourself, that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get what you deserve. In terms of relationship-wise. Because you have to change your attitude. You got to change your mentality. You got to change yourself. That's all there's to it. So. But as far as acts of kindness, I think we do need to do more of that within our own communities, man. Because otherwise, we're going to fail. I'm going to be straight up with you. You know, this is for all to hear, but definitely for all to hear, for all y'all grown, quote unquote, grown folks out here. You need to hear it. You know, particularly some of our younger men and women. You know, that don't listen. Because some of y'all don't listen. I'm going to be honest. Y'all think because you got internet and social media and all that, you know the world. You don't. You don't know what it takes unless you know your history. And that's another thing. We don't know. Many of us don't know our history like we should. You know? Because schools don't teach it. They don't. They didn't really teach it when I was in school. They, you know, we have like books. We had workbooks. I mean, not even worksheets when I was in the 5th grade when they taught us about Black history. Now, a news article. There were no books on that, even then. You know, there weren't a lot of books out there. Definitely no school books about it. Even when my son was a teenager, you know, in the 2010s, they didn't teach Black history in high school. In 2010. I was completely shocked by that. So I went and got him books and stuff. I said, dude, read. And he did. You know, now a lot of the books that I would like for him to read, but he did. You know, he made that. Know your history. Go on YouTube. There's a wealth of Black history information on YouTube. I give him that. You know. So I got a presentation I got to do next month, and I'm going to talk about that. Because we had no excuse for not knowing our history. We had no excuse at all. You know. So, but like I said, random bank of kindness, man. We got to practice more. But we got to stop all this hurt and butt hurt stuff that people get petty on, and make it about love, man. Love don't mean you know, ooh, I love you, baby, baby. No, it ain't all that. It's not about that. Love, respect comes out of love. You know, being kind comes out of love. You know, being complimentary comes out of love. Those things come out of love. Not jealousy, not spiteful, not boisterous. You know, just being you. Being your natural self, man. And not being nasty with folks. You know, that's what love is, man. That's all I got, folks. I see I got 1 like, so I appreciate that. And well, I got 2, I'm sorry, I got 2 views and 1 like. But I'm gonna be talking more about this. I plan on doing another one in podcast at the studio real soon. This is DJ Wolf. I appreciate y'all. God bless. Thank you so much. And I'm out.